Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Navdeep Singh, Laal Kaptaan looks very intriguing, brutal, mysterious. Yeah. You said in an interview where you had done earlier this year that when he first came to you with this idea, you thought it was crazy, but you're very grateful now that you said yes. So what more can you tell us about this crazy idea?
But you know, I mean, it depends what kind of cinema you like and love. And like this is such a trend with big movies being made today that everything's kind of CG created and driven. You have these big army shots and things are starting to look slightly similar in their large scale. And here's a film set in a time that William Dalrymple's just written a book called The Anarchy, because it was wilder than the Wild West. I suppose one of the things behind it was that they wanted to make a Western, but a very Indian Western, in the sense of Western meaning about a central character that's kind of out of his place. You're not sure whether he's a good guy, bad guy.
The man with no name kind of thing. Soldier of fortune, right.
Man with no name kind of thing. Mm. But in the guise of like a Naga sadhu who is, you know, right in the middle of this landscape with, you know, kingdoms falling and rising and the British taking over, the Mughal Empire declining, and, you know, horses and sword fights and a kind of a revenge drama set in that background. So what's not to love and what's not to want to do? Because I think this is something I would like to watch. I mean, I'm dying to watch it with the VFX finished and the whole film, and I want to own it on a DVD, and I want to watch this alone with a nice whiskey and just say, I can't believe we went through this. So it's like it's a really, there's been so much personal growth during it and a professional kind of growth as an actor to be able to bring this kind of thing alive, that I'm eternally thankful for the opportunity to be in this, what I think is a great movie.
But where did this story come from, Navdeep? What inspired this?
So I'm a bit of a history fan. I just love, reading about, and that particular time period. I mean, the sort of decline of the Mughals and the rise of the East India Company. There's about 100 years where anything goes, So, and there's that Chinese curse about may you live in interesting times, and those were interesting times, and that's a great world for like any kind of story to unfold, where just this sort of like this frontier mentality where there is no law, there is no rules, there is the anarchy, I think is sort of the right word for it, and it's just a fascinating.
You try and put that into the verb at the beginning of the film.
You'll have to check Mr. Dalrymple.
The anarchy, you can call it.
But yeah, this is such a great setting for a story, for any kind of story, really.
So, Saif, your character looks from the promos like it's a sort of cross between Langra Tyagi and Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. How did you get into the head of this man?
It was so funny because when we did the look test, we were trying so hard to be original with everything, and we came up with these various things, and the jacket is an integral part of the script, always was, as the title is Laal Kaptaan because of that kind of East India Company sepoy jacket. Right. And the dreadlocks and everything are because he's a sadhu, and it's a really organic kind of dressing for it. And we never, and Navdeep and I both, obviously being film people who are aware, never realized we're doing a Jack Sparrow. and my cousin and my nephew or something, I sent to it, Jack Sparrow, and then Ibrahim said Jack. A lot of people started saying, and of course people picked up on it. But fortunately, it's only a couple of visuals in the movie that have that thing. I think it's the headgear. And we changed that, and then for a lot of it, I mean, when you see the film, you realize there's absolutely nothing to do with, and these internet discussions have already started, which is nice, where people have said that, the dreadlocks and the jacket are very Indian actually. They're hardly, maybe Jack Sparrow has borrowed a bit from our culture in that sense.
I mean, the word bandana itself has a desi root to it. It comes from bandana, so.
But how did you find your way into this character?
Well, it was not easy because, despite having acted for many years, it's only recently that certain pieces of work have come along that are really testing you and training you, requiring a different kind of training as an actor, which wasn't there really, so we had to learn on the job. There's a slightly theatrical, very strong kind of animal-like performance that's required, like if there's anything, is like a wolf. and you know, I mean, you have to roar, and you've got to be kind of feral and gruff, and kind of there's the sound recordist engineer Kunal, who left the film because he couldn't match dates or something. But before leaving, he said, listen, you're not sounding like the guy. You're not there yet on day 2, which was a bit worrying. And because after putting all that get-up on and everything, like, there was this American actor, Gary Oldman, who did Dracula, who said the danger is sometimes the costume wears you.
Right.
And it really happens, because at least I was so weighed down, I'd never worn this before. Then I'm on a horse in the heat, and now I have to say these lines, and I was just about trying to get through the line. And you know, and Navdeep was really supportive. He said, you'll get there, you'll get there. But I think standing alone in the dark in my room in Rajasthan, or just waking up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat and going to the bathroom and smoking a bit much of, you know, won't even get into what all that was in the bathroom, which is, you know, an actor's thing, I guess, and the big mirror with the candle lit and saying, and becoming this guy slowly, and you kind of start changing. And luckily I was on my own, and I didn't have, you know, to torture my family or any kind of requirement to be the person that I am normally. So I had some time, and then they didn't shoot for a few days. I had 10 days there, and just getting into that and wearing those clothes and then walking around. That thing wore a few kilos, and I weighed a few kilos, and I had to take it off every few hours. But then after I kept it on, and then I went up to Navdeep one day and said, see, I can dance in it now, which really meant that you're getting comfortable. And then after you do a few scenes, you find it, and it was a big change, and I'm really proud of it, because a Western anyway, I'm talking too much, but a Western, at some point you're going to have to be on a horse giving attitude to 10 guys and telling them that, you know, if you don't watch what you're doing, I'm going to kill all of you.
Yeah.
And if you can't pull it off, people are going to laugh at you. And it's really scary, because you're on this thing and you've never done it before, and you're on the horse and you're looking at these guys, and you have to say, you know, this is, and luckily something happened as an actor where, like, what does the line mean? And we kind of made it work. And I'm
you found
really,
him.
yeah. So, but with a lot of introspection and a lot of effort as to, no, this is wrong, and of course being there on that horse, on that location, and if you've got a certain sense of romance, you pick it up, and everyone was giving it to me, hoping that I can do it, and I think we got it.
Yeah, he looks really animal-like.
It's only Darshan also, our hair and makeup person who works with Ranveer a lot. He's told me, he said, sir, you've only got your eyes here. He says, you can't see your mouth, you've got a beard, you can't see your hair, you're all wrapped. He said, so it's all in the eyes, and he was right. So it has to come, you know, from inside. But
yeah, it has to be in the eyes. Yeah. So, Navdeep, between Manorama 6 Feet Under and NH10, there were 8 years and 2 aborted scripts.
Correct.
Was this film easier to put together?
Yeah, I mean, so the great thing about Anand L. Rai, that is, was he backed it. I mean, I'm not even sure that whether he got it or not. He was willing to trust it. You know, that okay, this is the film you want to make. I trust you. I believe you. I trust in Saif, and okay, let's do this. And in that sense, it was. I mean, we're still working with more limited resources or whatever. I mean, it's not some 200 crore budget or something. And like I said, it's ambitious trying to make a epic and on a tight budget and in tough circumstances and crazy locations. But yeah, of course, it's definitely gotten easier. I mean, I think the success of NH10 probably contributed to that in some sense.
But tell me about Anand L. Rai. I get the two of you sort of doing this dark, violent story, but this man is sort of, you know, the high priest of intimate heartland dramas.
Right.
How does he get into a film like this?
I think he trusts people. I mean, as a producer, I think that's his stake as a producer. If he was going to make,
did you take it to him?
Yeah.
You took it.
Yeah.
To him.
Yeah. I mean, I've known him for many years, and when Manorama first came out, it was at a festival, at a film festival, and called the Ocean Film Festival in Delhi, which doesn't exist anymore. He had a film there as well, and we, you know, got chatting, and we just kind of clicked, and we met over the years, and we were discussing a film called Canada earlier, which we were going to do together, and just somehow that never happened. Two heroes, impossible to cast.
Hey, it's happening. maybe war will work and everybody will want to do, you know, two heroes. Yeah.
But say 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was very difficult to get two heroes to, you know, act together. So then I proposed this one to him, and he loved it. He said, "Let's do it, yeah." So I think as his take as a producer is to trust people and their ideas, because if he was only going to produce the kind of films he's making himself, then he'd just rather make them himself.
So how tough was this shoot?
I mean, by far the toughest of anything that I've done. I've been to a couple of tough places. I mean, JP Datta sir took us up to Kargil and all that kind of thing. You can breathe in Ladakh. There's been some tough movies, but India is so beautiful and rugged, and if you make a bit of an effort to go to these locations in Chambal and Rajasthan, which is what the film required, it was always fine once we got there, you know. So a couple of hours of driving is really well organized, everything was okay, but hard. You have to get there, and then you're on horses, and then it's hot, and we didn't. I mean, Navdeep always said that we've got to shoot this film November, December, January, you know, and then we ended up getting into March, April, kind of May, and it was Rajasthan, so we started getting hot, and it was really rough. But you know something, I think that all helped. And in all these places, the rugged of the rugged, there's some amazing places to stay because of this tourism and the kind of, you know, places like Ramantra in Rajasthan, and which is the first place we shot with that.
Chadol.
Chadol. They're all lovely. Accommodation is like a kind
so
of.
So that's comfortable.
Really like a 5-star kind of resort.
Of course, there's 6 rooms in those places, and even the director doesn't get one.
Yeah. For me, it was
so
great.
we're staying in tents, the rest of the crew.
They actually put up a tent
have,
that looked like a Roman army camp with like 100, 200 tents.
Yeah, about 150 tents.
Like that below Ramantra. It was like an army. And look, it was the toughest thing, and if you see it, you'll know that, you know, I can't. If you can disassociate for a second, you say, oh God, I can't. And the thing is, a horse, you know.
Yeah, that's hard.
And trying to walk it around, and it's not even riding. It's like walking it left and right, and it's stuck to you. It's like you are the horse.
Right.
So like a centaur.
And you ride though.
I mean, you know, I thought I could, but riding is one thing, and walking around specifically. 2 steps to the right, please. 1 step left. 2 steps again to the right. Or walk right up here.
Yeah.
Turn around and gallop off. So that's like proper, you know, show jumping or something. So that's a different level. And you can see the first day I'm like looking like I'm going to fall off, but later on I'm looking nicely slouched into the saddle. And I learned how to ride really quite well. And that horse is a dream. I've forgotten his name, poor fellow. But
Rocky and Arjun.
Rocky and Arjun, bless them. They were amazing. Amazing.
How lovely.
Yeah. They were so good. And the guys love their horses and look out, they have a tough life, but they were incredible. It was just hard. It was hard. And I think Westerns should be hard. And somewhere and then there was this sequence where Sir had me in a very Christ-like thing, and the central character is a little Christ-like of one of these Westerns, because he has to go through this, you know, torture or punishment and everything, and then there's a kind of a redemption at the end.
So you were nailed to something?
Kind of. I mean, he tied me up behind a wagon, and there's this white caravan that's moving, and this guy who's all battered and bruised and cut up, so that takes a while, is being pulled by these ropes behind this caravan, barefoot of course.
Yep.
And now we start off at 9 o'clock as usual, which is fine, and come 11:30, it's like walking on fire because it's just sand, and it takes a while to start cooking, and once it starts cooking, you can't stand on it. So it was like, oh, and then my feet cracked up, and it was just, I've got pictures of this stuff.
At one point his soles were bleeding, and one of my assistants came excitedly, sir, that's his real blood.
Take the shot. They weren't bothered about my, but it was hard, you know.
It's all in the service of art, right? But now tell me, when you're creating a film like this, and you know your films have dealt with violence, where do you draw the line with how much violence is palatable, and at what point will you lose the audience?
Sure. I mean, this one is probably the least violent. I mean, certainly a lot less violent than NH10. It's a lot of the violence here is suggested rather than. It's a little comic booky. Is
that because of NH10, by the way?
No, I mean that was a very different type of story. It needed that realism. It needed that sort of, you needed to feel every punch. And here it's larger than life. These are heroic characters. I mean, they spout dialogues, you know. It's comic booky in that sense. And so, while it's still a little dark, but so yeah, so I think that the violence gets tailored to each story. What is the story? Who is the story for? Who are you trying to reach as an audience?
There's a scene where, you know, 5 bandits try and pull the lady off her horse and get rough with her, and you know, the hero saves her. Fairly typical kind of scene and open to how it's treated. So I said, why don't you have her pulled off the horse and almost, you know, assaulted, so that before things really get nasty, he comes in and saves her.
Right.
And he's like, no, it's not really required, and it's quite not giving the right message to kind of somewhere go there in today's climate. So let's ease off. We won't take her off the horse, we'll just have her pulled around a bit and you come in. So that's one example of where the line has been drawn.
Right. Saif, you had also said that a good actor needs to be saleable, but also be able to work out of the box. Is this a balance that you feel you've achieved now?
I'm a good actor, doesn't need to be saleable. I'm just saying it's nice.
It is nice.
Everyone's happy if you are.
Right.
I mean, my ideal actor would be someone who's saleable, but who's not always catering to that saleability. That's the kind of ideal I have. Like, you know what Johnny Depp was before he became the Pirates of the Caribbean person. Or someone like Tom Hardy, who, you know, the different platforms, you do a nice web show, you're villain of some movie, you're hero of some movie, and you're a bit fluid that way. That's kind of what I meant.
But you feel like you've got there? You have this
No,
balance?
I mean, I feel, you know, I could be a lot more saleable. And I feel it's a thing because, you know, sometimes I feel the kind of movies I really like might not be the most commercial, you know. So, and I'm not only here to do commercial movies. Otherwise, I would have done, like, you know, somebody offering me, you know, Arcane 2, for example, with no offense, would be the kind of film to do in that case, you know, or something like that, where it's a no-brainer that it would be quite, but I'd rather do this, or I'd rather do, you know, the kind of stuff I've been doing. So I don't know, I'm not producing these films, so I'm hoping if smart people like Anand Rai and Navdeep are making these films, that they will be saleable in themselves, and hopefully will. But I have made a bit of an effort after this film to kind of change track slightly.
In what
like
way?
With films like Jawani Janeman, which we produced, and Bhoot Police, with just an eye on a little more, not to say this isn't, but little more entertainment in terms of comedy, and like a horror comedy as a film, which is actually really funny and really scary. I thought would be something interesting to do.
You did it first in Go Goa Gone.
Well, yeah, but this is kind of different, and the Jawani Janeman one being a little more, you know, perhaps not relatable more necessarily, but like an urban story. But Nitin Kakkar is a really nice director also, lovely director. Filmistan he did, but you give him a nice commercial story. I like the way they make sense out of it. So it's about a hard drinking party Punjabi guy called Jazz. So it's fun. I mean, there's a lot of comedy. So I've missed doing a bit of comedy, I suppose.
You know, Navdeep, all through your career, you've sort of chosen the path of no compromise. You've taken tough subjects and you've kind of just stayed with it until these films happen. If you had to give some advice to filmmakers out there on how to make this possible, like what has really stood you in good stead as you've struggled to bring these stories to life?
So persistence is obviously the one word that is there.
But how do you stay persistent in the face of such odds?
So I'll be honest. I mean, I used to do advertising. So I mean, luckily I managed to make some amount of money before I did my first feature film. But about a year after my first feature, when I realized it was becoming difficult to do my second feature, I realized if I continued doing advertising, I would never get back to doing a second feature because I would just get so comfortable again.
It's too seductive.
And it's not worth the struggle. The money's better. You know, it's less humiliating, let's say, because you're a bit of a star in that domain, you know. And here you're no one. When you're suddenly, you know, when you first come into Bollywood, you're like, I'm a star. I'm a star advertising director, you know. And suddenly you realize nobody knows you, nobody cares, you know. And you're back at the bottom of the.
There's only one star.
Yeah, exactly. And you're at the bottom of the pecking damn order, you know. So I actually gave up doing advertising films because just to stay hungry and keep that hunger alive. My wife thinks I'm stupid, but.
And Saif,
There's a T-shirt there somewhere.
there is.
My wife thinks I'm stupid. We could hand them out in the industry, like all over.
And we of course can't let you go, Saif, without a Taimur question. So I read this very funny interview where they were praising you for dressing down. Yeah. And you said, well, I'm not a fashion meter and I don't want to be one, but I live with the internet's biggest star, and the paparazzi is just parked across the road all the time and they're just taking pictures of us.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that you've changed nothing despite this. How have you managed this?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's strong upbringing.
Good values.
Good values. I must say though that the press is very kindly moved from outside my house.
Is
They've
that
been
so?
nice. Yes, they've decided to give the kids some space.
Really?
Yeah, which is very elegant of them. So thank you.
When did this happen?
A couple of months ago.
And
they said,
was there a reason?
No, there wasn't something. Something happened. I think some neighbors complained that there's becoming a bit of a mandli down there with these guys, and as they'll hang around and they'll smoke, and so it starts looking a little unsavory.
Yeah.
And the cops came, somebody, and then we had a chat about it, and they said, okay, fine, as long as you're, and my father always said this, as long as you're equal with everyone. It's not just one favorite photographer hanging out.
Right.
So if nobody comes, at least outside the house.
Okay.
Anyway, they've been very decent about it.
Right. So you have no reason to.
Taimur's very happy. He's happy.
Really?
He's the least interested in people. No pictures, please. He started saying as well.
No way! I love it.
He doesn't like being photographed.
How old is he
Good
now?
for him. 3.
And so at 3 he says no pictures, please. Fab.
He used to be like, no pictures. I said, please say no pictures, please.
So he does it politely.
Yes.
Sounds fab. Thank you so much, and all best for Laal Kaptaan.
Thank you. Hi, this is Saif Ali Khan. If you like this video, subscribe to Film Companion.